From which chapter?
Ma'am, both the chapter. Ma'am, numerical type questions can we solve?
Numerical type questions. Which
Yes.
chapter? Name the chapter.
Ma'am, both the chapters, human reproduction and sexual reproduction, flowering plants.
Okay. You switch on your video. Just 1 second, I'm coming. Switch on your video, dear. Yes. Are you able to see the screen running? The screen that I'm sharing?
Ma'am, it's black though, I'm able to see. Okay, now I can see, ma'am.
Human reproduction, right? Okay, till then, you answer a few questions that I'm asking just as is. First of all, you tell me a testes has how many compartments present in it?
Ma'am, 250.
Yes, switch on the video. How many compartments?
Ma'am, 250.
And how many seminiferous tubules are present in each of the compartments?
1, 2, 3. Like 1 or 3.
All right, okay. Can you tell me the stem cell that have this potency to give rise to all types of tissues and organs? They are formed from which part of the zygote or the embryo?
Blastocyst.
No. It's like a later stage and that has this thing, the potential for giving rise to new organs.
Ma'am, is it moral? Not Morola.
Inner cell mass.
Oh.
Okay, inner cell mass. Can you tell me, like the placenta and the fetus is connected with a cord-like structure called as
Umbilical cord.
umbilical cord?
Oh,
Okay.
umbilical cord.
Tell me how many primary follicles are left in each of the ovary, after, like when the female is born, or you can say up until the period of puberty.
20 to 60,000.
60,000 to 80,000, not 200. Okay. LH and FSH, that are the gonadotrophins, they are secreted by which gland?
Ma'am, pituitary.
Which part of pituitary?
Uh, Maternal pituitary.
Anterior pituitary.
Oh,
Anterior, posterior, these are the positions. So the anterior pituitary, they give rise to the gonadotrophins. And this anterior, in general, the pituitary is under the influence of.
hypothalamus.
Right. Okay, can you tell me the names of the three germ layers?
Ma'am, germ layers like
Germ layers means germ layers. What are the names of the three germ layers? No mercy, no hint.
ma'am, like ectoderm, mesoderm,
Right?
endoderm.
What is the function of germ layers?
Ma'am, to give rise to nervous system and organ tissues.
All the organs. It gives rise to the organs, or like organ formation. That is the function. Can you tell me the names of the hormones that are secreted like only in the pregnant female?
Um, mm, HP, uh, HPG.
HPC? No.
Oh,
HPL.
oh yes, ma'am. HPL
Then.
and HCG,
Hmm. Then.
relaxin,
Hmm.
estrogen, progesterone.
Estrogen, progesterone are found in all the females.
Okay,
But
ma'am.
HCG, HPL, relaxin, and also one more, what was it? Prolactin. These hormones are only secreted in the pregnant female. What is the full form of HCG?
Human chorionic gonadotrophin.
Hmm. And HPL?
Uh, Human prolactin lactogen.
Placental
Oh,
lactogen.
yes, placental lactogen.
Do you know what is hysterectomy? I'll tell you. See the word hystera. Okay, this is like a word that denotes the uterus. Okay, and hysterectomy is the removal of the hystra, that is the uterus. Clear? So hysterectomy, it is a surgical removal of the uterus. You can note it down somewhere. All right, now you tell me, how would, like, if you are looking at the follicles and everything in the oogenesis stage, so how would you see that there is a tertiary follicle there? Like, how would you recognize that it is indeed a tertiary follicle?
Ma'am, first of all, it has a lot of layers. It
Hmm.
is big in size.
Hmm.
Uh,
What is the main characteristic feature?
Antrum.
Antrum. Fluid filled space called as antrum. Okay. Okay, after the Graafian follicle ruptures and releases the ovum, then what does it becomes later on? Like after ovulation is done, it
Ma'am,
gets
corpus
released.
luteum
And what is the function of corpus luteum?
for the maintenance of endometrial lining,
By, and how does it do that?
secreting progesterone.
Okay, the sequential movement of the zygote up until the uterus and the divisions that it undergoes. What is the name of those divisions?
Hmm, Cleavage.
Hmm, cleavage. Okay. And on which day of the menstrual cycle does the ovulation occur?
14th day.
Why?
Because LH surge caused the Graafian follicle to rupture and release ovum.
Okay. Okay, can you tell me, like, what is the function of progesterone all in all?
Ma'am,
Function
to
of progesterone. Huh.
maintain the endometrial lining
Okay. And why is the endometrial lining has to be maintained?
for in case of fertilization to implant.
Okay, so if I say that the endometrial lining has to be maintained, so by maintenance, what do you mean? Like, what happens to it that it gets maintained?
Ma'am, since it's like degenerating, so like it has to become like a cushion type to for the implantation to take place, um, like the uterus cells and all, they have to
So
be
what happens? So
convenient.
it regenerates, that is correct. Then,
And then it becomes interdigited with the embryo, like
it gets like, see, it gets regenerated and it gets supplied with a lot of blood vessels, isn't it? A lot of blood vessels. That is why the endometrial lining, it has to become thick and richly supplied with blood vessels in order to be able to, you can say, fertilize, or you can say implantation, like successful implantation happens. Okay, 1 second. All right, okay. Now tell me, what is the, okay, what is the function of the acrosome?
ma'am, acrosome induces the changes in the zona pellucida layer of
How?
the by secretions,
Which type of secretions does it like gives out?
enzyme, fluid secretions.
How? Which type? Hydrolytic. Okay, hydrolytic. Okay. Okay, menstrual flow, it occurs due to the lack of which hormone?
Mm, progesterone.
And how does that lack happen?
Ma'am, during that, because estrogen is secreted.
Estrogen is secreted.
Ma'am, I mean, like during the follicular phase,
Hmm.
that period of time,
Okay,
it
let's
is
just say,
lacking.
okay, in the case of human females, when like in their gametogenesis, when does the meiosis 2 gets completed?
Ma'am, after the fertilization.
Okay. Do you know which cells are also called as the nursing cells? See, you can write that also. Nursing cells, it's another name for Sertoli cells. Okay, so many a
Nursing cell.
times, nurse cells, or you can write nurse cells. N-U-R-S-E,
Ma'am,
nurse
spelling.
cells.
Okay.
N-U-R, nurse,
Okay.
normal nurse. Okay, so nurse or nursing cells. These are, like, this is the another name for the Sertoli cells. What is the function of Sertoli cells?
Ma'am, to provide nutrition
What?
to the
Right.
spermatogonia.
Okay, how many, like, what is the division of the human pregnancy? How would you divide it into time periods?
3 trimesters, ma'am. One
Hmm,
consisting of 3 months.
very good. And in which of the months does the first movement of the fetus is seen?
Second.
Second, fifth,
Ma'am, second trimester.
second trimester. Do you know what is ectopic pregnancy?
Hmm.
Hmm?
No.
See, normally the fertilized ovum, it is supposed to be implanted in the uterus, right? That's the normal case scenario. But when the fertilized ovum, instead of being implanted in the uterus, it gets implanted in the fallopian tube. Wrong place. So that is ectopic pregnancy. Okay? Alright. Now you tell me, what is a blastocyst?
Hmm. Blastocyst uh, consists of it occurs after late Morola stage.
What does it contain?
Mm, it contains many cells that are being divided, like after.
Name them. Very significant. The blastocyst, it contains the trophoblast and the inner cell mass. Because of this only, right? It gets like
Mm,
all the differentiation happens. When you said something about morula, right? So
mm,
morula, how many cells does the morula have?
or 2, 8, 16. Oh no,
8 to
2, 8,
6.
16.
8 to 6.
Oh, 8.
Hmm. Okay. You told me about cleavage, right? That is the division of the zygote. Now, can you tell me which type of division happens in the zygote? Is it mitosis or meiosis?
Ma'am, mitosis.
Why?
Because ma'am, it's multiplying without the
Hmm.
chromosomal number getting reduced.
Okay. Now, there is this saying that not all copulation leads to fertilization. Okay. Why? Why not all copulations or sexual act are successful?
Ma'am, because of it could be because of the sperm, like because the sperm has criteria for it to fertilize the ovum, like it should have vigorous motility or
Hmm.
it should be good in shape.
Hmm. That's true.
So,
But let's just say the sperm is healthy, the egg is healthy. But still, we are saying that not all the copulatory act would lead to a successful fertilization. Now, how would you explain? Everything is normal, the sperm is swimming fine, everything is good. But still, no fertilization is happening. Why?
ma'am, the sperm is not able to induce changes in the
No, I'm
somatic.
saying it is. It is able to do everything, but still not happening. Why?
Ma'am, defect in either one.
No, there's no defect. I'm saying both of them are healthy. The gametes are healthy. The environment is healthy. Everything is perfect. Still, no fertilization is
Oh,
happening
maybe it's because the ovum didn't release at that time.
because the release of the sperm and the ovulation, it has to be simultaneously. Then only they will be able to meet, because mostly the sperms, they die. I think so after 72 hours they'll die, even if they are present in the the cavity, the vaginal cavity. Okay, now you tell me the tell me when the menstrual cycle completely ceases to work. What do you call that as?
Seizures too, ma'am? Seizures
Like
to what?
menstrual cycle doesn't happen anymore. So the complete stoppage of menstrual cycle is called as,
Menopause.
and it happens in which year age?
Uh, 50, 45, like that.
45 to 50. Right. They can give you any number of, like, let's just say they'll say that the number of days in the menstrual cycle, they'll give you the number, and they will ask you to find out the day of ovulation. So you can write this formula: day of ovulation is equal to number of days in menstrual cycle, number of days in menstrual cycle minus 14. So you'll have the day on which the ovulation can take. Now, obviously, if they
Ma'am,
give you,
how the number of days will it be given?
like, let's say they'll be like, the number of days in the menstrual cycle of a healthy female is 28 days. Find out the day of ovulation, or what would be the day of ovulation. So you just minus 14 from that and you'll get the day of ovulation. But this is very predictable. 28, we know it's like the most common type, right? But they can give you 26 days, 30 days, or whatever like that. You just have to minus 14 from whichever number they've given, and that is the day of ovulation. Clear?
Yes. Ma'am, are there graph questions?
Graph questions, what graph questions will they give you? They'll just give you this thing only, like at which time the LH surge is happening. Most common question is that. Like when the LH surge is happening, then what is happening to the FSH? What is the level of that? Just like that. Nothing else.
Ma'am, like today, I saw one question. It was like involving calculation and stuff. Like, uh, if 200 sperms are being produced, how many primary spermatocytes or oogonia like that? Can we do, ma'am, those type of questions?
Okay, tell me the time period or the number of days or the time period for the follicular phase.
Ma'am, follicular phase 13 days.
Starts from like the end of the menstrual cycle and goes about 14 to 15 days. Okay. Can you tell me the number of autosomes in human primary spermatocyte? How many autosomes would be present in human primary spermatocyte?
Ma'am, autosomes.
Autosomes. What are autosomes?
Ma'am, do they contribute to physical character?
Yes, they do.
Ma'am, autosomes 20 and 22.
Huh?
22.
Listen to the question. The number of autosomes in the human primary spermatocyte. Primary spermatocyte. You are so good at doing questions, but if you use a little bit extra brain, you will be flawless. You're so good at that.
Ma'am, do we do 2 and
Why
like
do you
that?
need to do that? Why? Because I objected your question. That's why you use your brain and tell me. I'm giving you the hint. The number of autosomes in the primary spermatocyte. What is the ploidy of primary spermatocyte? Is it haploid or diploid?
It's diploid.
Diploid. So how many autosomes? Autosomes mean body cells or body chromosomes.
Yes.
So how many?
So 46. No,
46 is the total number.
yes, ma'am, number. So 23 pairs, 22, one sex chromosome, ma'am, and 22 is like autosomes, right?
You said that autosomes. See, out of the 23 pair, 22 are autosomes and the one pair is the sex chromosome, right? But this is for
Yes.
the haploid condition. Now, primary spermatocyte is a diploid condition, so directly it will become 44.
Oh,
This is for the haploid 22, 23 is for one cell. But which cell, if they had been saying about the spermatid, then it would have been 20. But since they're talking about the primary spermatocyte, which is a diploid cell, so that would be 44. Clear?
yes.
And this thing, the acrosome is a modification of which cell organelle?
I'm Golgi apparatus.
And so this, I think almost all of the tricky questions that I thought were there in the MCQ part, I've asked you. Only that numerical little check, I just have to check that question. Till then, we solve the questions from this thing. The sexual reproduction in flowering plants. It's right in front of you. I'm searching the question for you. Okay, answer this question. What is cryopreservation?
Ma'am, the storing of pollen grains in liquid nitrogen.
At which temperature?
Negative one
1,
140.
196.
Oh yes, 190.
How can dipogamy prevent self-pollination?
Ma'am, dipogamy.
Dipogamy.
Ma'am, dipogamy is
How can it prevent?
by ma'am anther and this stigma are at different positions.
So how can it prevent?
Ma'am, it prevents by not letting the anther, pollen grain land on stigma.
Tell me the ploidy of Nucellus and the female gametophyte.
Ma'am, Nucellus is N, female gametophyte is 2N.
Nucellus is M. N. What is Nucellus?
Ma'am, the nutritive part.
Mm. It's the nutritive part present in the ovule, right? How can it be N? It's 2N. And female
Mm.
gametophyte?
Oh, female gametophyte after fertilization is 2N, so it's N.
Hmm. Okay, in 40% of the angiosperms, the pollen grains are shed at which cell stage?
2 cell stage. Mm. Ma'am, vegetative and generative.
3%. 40%.
Yes, ma'am.
In 60% of the angiosperm, they are shed at 2 cell stage.
Oh,
But in the
so
rest,
three.
40%, 3 cell stage.
Yes, ma'am. Generative cells divide.
With the central cell, after triple fusion, what does it become?
Primary uh, endosperm nucleus.
Um,
PN.
Here is 18th question.
Ma'am, there is one question. To produce 400 seeds, the number of meiotic divisions required will be.
This
I'm
question.
unable to do this.
Done.
Hmm.
Tell me the
Yes.
answer.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, for 18th question,
Hmm.
ma'am, I got 16.
What 16? How?
Ma'am, I divided by 4.
You divided it by 4. Yes,
Yes.
absolutely correct. Why 4?
Ma'am, because one mother cell gives 4 pollens. So,
Which question was, like, what was your question? Something about 400 seeds? Tell me the
yes,
question.
ma'am. To produce 400 seeds, the number of meiotic divisions required will be
Okay. See, so after one meiotic division, how many male gametes are formed?
4.
Yes. So one meiotic division leads to the formation of 4 male gametes. And how many meiotic divisions are taken to form the, you can say, 4 female gametes?
Ma'am, female gamete 3 will degenerate, so only 1 is
Hmm.
functional. So
So
1
one
is 1.
meiosis
1.
is for one. So four
Yes.
meiosis is for 4 female
4.
gametes, right? So 4
Yes.
meiosis for 4 female gametes and 1 meiosis for 4 male gametes, right? This much is clear.
Yes, ma'am.
All in all, you see that for the production of the, and these 4 male gametes can fuse with the 4 female gametes and form the zygote,
Yes.
isn't it? So all in all, we saw that for 4 male gametes and for 4 female gametes, 5 meiotic divisions are required, right? And
Yes,
these
total.
4 will fuse with the 4 female gametes and ultimately form the zygote. So 5 meiotic division is for 4 male gametes or the female gametes. So in order to form 400, you just multiply it 200. So you have 500 meiotic divisions will be needed to form 400 seeds.
Ma'am,
Hmm.
can you explain how we got 100? How?
See, I am taking just a simple unitary method. Okay, the simple basic unitary method. They are asking to form the seed, right? Seed is the product of fertilization, right? Huh. Every
Yes.
male gamete fuses with the female gamete. We are using that logic. So one meiotic division, it was required to form 4 male gametes, right? And then one meiotic division forms 1 female gamete. So 4 meiotic division forms 4 female
4.
gametes, right? So now all
Yes.
in all, if we combine the male meiotic division and the female, so we have 5 meiotic divisions all in all, right?
Yes.
Now these 4 male gametes are going to fuse with the 4 female gametes and they're going to form 4 seeds,
Seeds.
right?
Yes.
How many seeds are there in the question?
400.
Hmm. So seeds into the number 100 is equal to 400, meaning 400 seeds are being formed. So for
Yes.
5 meiotic divisions for 4 seeds, so 500 meiotic divisions for 400 seeds. Just multiplying it into 100.
Yes.
Clear? Hmm. All right. Okay. Furthermore, now tell me, amongst the abiotic pollination, which one is the most common kind?
Ma'am, insect.
Abiotic.
Oh, abiotic wind pollination. Wind.
What is the normal name of this pollination? No.
Anemophily.
And what is entomophily?
That's for insect.
Insect pollination. Okay. What is a hilum?
Ma'am, hilum is the region, the junction between the stalk and the integuments.
But if I give you a seed and you see a hilum over there, so what does the hilum signifies over there?
Hilum is simply the junction of
Junction of what?
funicle and integument.
Here. Okay. Which part of the seed gives rise to the root?
Radical.
And in the case of monocot seed, the radical part is protected by a sheath which is called a
Cleoriza. Cleoriza.
coleorhiza. Folio.
Cleoriza.
See the spelling also. Don't write wrong spellings in exam because you're going to have a subject. Also, one more thing, very important thing. I should tell you how to write the question answers according to the question, right? See,
Hmm.
this is very important. See, for example, if you are getting MC, okay. So, what first of all, pay very, very, very close attention to the numbering of your answer. See the question number and then mark that answer, okay? Or else your whole entire answer and whole entire mehnat will go to waste. So don't do that, okay? For example, if there is question number 1 and the MCQ, the answer for it is D. Okay, let's just say. Now, whatever is the option written on D, you write that also. For example, D has all of above. So you write that.
Yeah.
Whatever it's saying, you write that. And try to not cut and write again. Why? Because many teachers are there that take it as that you have cheated later on, and MCQs are easy to cheat. Right? You can ask what is one, what is two. They can tell you 1, 2, 3, and you can just cut yours and write it again. So many teachers are there that cut marks for this. Even if you might have made a mistake by your own and you thought no, this is not the answer, something, but still they'll not consider it. So try it. Like you can once you are confirmed 100%, then only you write. Or if you want to write it again, leave that whole entire thing, write it at the end of your MCQ. So that your marks don't get cut because of that negative impression. Okay, this is the first. Other than that, see the marks the question carries. The question might carry 2 marks, 3 marks, 5 marks, right? These are the marks that the question carries. Now, for 2 markers, you do not need to write a page full of answers. No, not necessary. Even if you write 5 pages long answer, still you're going to get 2 marks on it because that's the whole mark. So why waste time? And bio papers are very lengthy. What is the time duration?
40 minutes.
40 minutes. So you have to write very fast. Okay, and you tend to go very descriptive. Fine, awesome. But try to write quickly and but still neat. And when you're writing a 2 marks answer, so I think in my opinion, one good explanatory paragraph is more than enough with examples and everything. Always do not try to write in big para. Try to write it in points because that will make your answer very catchy. Okay, like for example, they have asked you to write some features about something. So write it in points. Okay, either you do ABC or you do 1, 2, 3, Roman 1, 2, 3, or points, whichever way. Other than that, 3 markers would require 2 paragraphs or more, a little more descriptive, and for 5 marks you have to go all out. Like
5
everything,
marks we're not having for this test.
you're not having 5 marks. So 2 and 3.
Hmm. Yes, ma'am.
Then wonderful. So, and what is the full marks of your test?
20.
See, as far as the 3 marks question goes, so if they give you a very descriptive kind of question, so try, like for example, they gave you some question, and I don't think this situation will come, but let's just say you're not recalling the answer at that point of time. But you do know the diagram. Try to stick the diagram everywhere possible. Okay, wherever the question can have a diagram delivered to it, like for example, if the question is about pollen grain, easily you can draw the diagram, right? You draw the diagram, you label it nicely, and
And
get your
ma'am,
full
for
marks.
3 markers, do we have to like just straight up get to the point or like give a little bit background
Give
info and
a
stuff?
little bit background is necessary because this is your big marks question, right? So a little bit, not the whole entire story. Like we began at this stage, then we grew a little, then no. You give a little bit, for example, they are asking you the significance of gametes. Before that, you tell what sexual reproduction is. It involves gametes.
Yes,
Gametes are
ma'am.
formed by
How to
this.
introduce the answer, ma'am?
For example, like let's just say, let me see, they're asking you about megasporangium. Like what is a megasporangium? Before that, you can start your answer by saying the reproductive parts of the plant, right? Or what are the, you can say important, how do you demarcate the female and the male reproductive parts, like that. Then you come on to the main point of your answer. So like one tiny 2 to 3 lines you give a little aloof from your topic, like coming to your topic, and then you like dive into your topic. Always support your answer with the help of a diagram. Trust me. Diagram is like tweets, like how tweets are there for pets. Just like that, diagrams are treat to the eye for the teachers. Okay, wherever they'll see a diagram, they'll be more than happy. And I hope you draw good diagrams. I have not seen you draw one, but I hope your diagram making is good. Other than that, one more thing, that when you're drawing a diagram, for example, this diagram, what is this diagram? This one?
Syncarpus.
Syncarpus ovary, right? Wherein all of them have fused, right? Now see, in this, you pick a side, either the left side or the right side, and do all the labelings on one side. I don't want sun rays coming out of the diagram. No. Pick a side, you pick left side, more than fine. You pick right side, again, more than fine. But you pick a side and stay at that side. If you pick right side, do all the labelings at the right hand side. It will make your answer look extremely neat. Or if you're going to do the left side, but do not do all around the diagram. No. If there is something on the left hand side and you wanted to label on the right hand side, you do like this. Like for example, if we want to label something from here on the right hand side, then do like this and then bring it over there. But everything bring on one side, not both the sides, not a sun rays. No, pick a side, stay at that side. The side could be anything. Other than that, whatever diagram you're drawing, the teacher will not use his or her imagination. You have to provide the teacher with the caption. So for example, if this is the diagram, you write figure at the below, put a dash or put a colon, and you write syncarpus or whatever is the diagram. So in this way, the teacher will know what you have drawn. The teacher will get the idea of what you want the teacher to understand from your answer. Do not give any diagram without this. Okay? Like it's not just for class 12, it's forever. When you go into higher classes also, college also, this is always going to work. Clear? And in this chapter, in the chapter sexual reproduction in flowering plants, there are many scientific names of the plants, right? So wherever you have any genus name and species name, underline them separately. Write the genus name with a capital letter and the species with the small. This is like the rule, nomenclature rule. So all of these are the tips for your answer writing. Anything else?
Ma'am, in this chapter, can you explain apomixis again?
Apomixis. I will explain apomixis. First, you only tell me what have you understood from apomixis.
Ma'am, I just understood it mimics sexual reproduction.
How does it mimic? How can you say that it mimics it? First of all, tell me what does sexual reproduction do?
Ma'am, it involves fertilization.
Hmm.
So,
So, what?
it forms a triploid primary endosperm, and
Huh.
then it also forms
But ultimately, if I
diploid
ask
zygote.
you, huh, but if I ask you that in the case of the reproduction in the flowering plants, which is the important end product that there is? What is the whole entire purpose? The production of dash. Production of what?
Seed or
Seed.
fruits.
Seeds, right? The main thing is the production of seeds. Fruits is like of no use to the plants. Seed are actual usage, right? Because they propagate a new plant later on. So that is what we do under the normal case scenario. But right now we're talking about apomixis. Apomixis is the production of seed without fertilization. And the reason why they are saying that it mimics the sexual reproduction is because ultimately in sexual reproduction, seeds are formed. Here also, seeds are formed. But since in the apomixis, seeds are being formed without fertilization, so it is asexual reproduction. It's a unique phenomena, obviously. It is a asexual reproduction, but it is trying to mimic the sexual reproduction in terms of having the product exactly what the sexual reproduction product is, which is a seed.
So, ma'am, how does it make the seed not defined in it? Like, seeds are still there, right?
Seeds are there. Seeds are there, but they are not true seeds. They are not the result of fertilization. They are not the result of sexual reproduction, but they are there. It's like you can say this is not a very commonly occurring phenomena, but it has been seen. And many a times it can be done artificially as well with the usage of hormones, plant hormones. What happened?
Ma'am, can you explain the process? Like how the nucellar cells act?
You said this.
No, no, ma'am. Like how it leads to polyembryony, like polyembryony stage.
See, polyembryony, poly means multiple, and the presence of multiple embryos in a seed is polyembryony. Now, see, these two phenomena, whether we talk about apomixis or whether we talk about polyembryony, these are very unique phenomena, right? It's not the common basic things that are happening. It's very unique and it's like you can say a very unusual thing that happens. When we talk about polyembryony, what is it? It's like many embryos are appearing inside one common seed. This is also happens unnatural. Normally, one seed is supposed to have one embryo in like normal case scenario because that is how it's formed. But then, under certain circumstances, maybe the cells are very, you can say, actively dividing. In that case, also, the more than one embryo could be formed. Clear? What else? Can you tell me the function of germ pore? What does the germ pore do?
Ma'am, pollen tube comes out from that particular region. Ma'am, pollen tube. It,
Pollen tube comes out of germ pore.
no, ma'am, not jump or like pollen
Huh.
tube attaches from there.
Pollen tube is completely different. I'm talking about germ pore, not germination of pollen. I'm talking about germ pore. Where is it seen?
Ma'am, where the egg sign layer is not there.
Mm. And basically, what it is there for?
Ma'am, pollen tube.
Initiation of pollen. Okay, that's how you answer. Okay, initiation of pollen. Okay, all right. What is the advantage of cleistogamy in your opinion?
Ma'am, uh, it prevents autogamy and geitonogamy since the uh, flowers are up very close.
So it prevents autogamy.
No, ma'am, not autogamy. Geitonogamy and xenogamy.
Okay, what are albuminous seeds?
Ma'am, in which the free nuclear endosperm is remain like it remains.
Three nuclear endosperm, only the endosperm is also fine. Three nuclear,
Oh,
you don't have. Okay, in the case of monocots, the cotyledon has a name. What is the name?
mm, mm, hypocotyle.
No. The name of the cotyledon. Hypocotyle, you tell me hypocotyle function also then. Scutellum, you remember scutellum?
Oh yes,
Scutellum,
scutellum.
that is the name. And what is the position of scutellum?
It is above cleoptile, like on the top.
Position. Name the position, not above. It is lateral position, sideways.
No.
Okay, if the pollen tube is entering through the synergids, then what do you call it?
Mm. Ma'am, filiform apparatus guides it.
That's true. Filiform apparatus guides it. But the phenomena of the pollen coming through the filiform apparatus, what do you call it?
Mm.
If it is
Ma'am,
coming from the micro,
normal. Isn't it normal?
isn't it normal?
Like normally it enters through the synergid.
So it has a
And the,
name. It does have a name. What is the name? Some gamete. Which kind of gamete?
mm,
Orogamy. And if it
sporogamy.
enters through the chalazal side, then what do you call it?
Antipodal.
Not the cell. Tell me the entry of the pollen grain. If that is happening from the chalazal end, then what do you call it?
Mm,
Chalazogamy. And if it is happening through the integument, then what do you call it?
Integumogamy.
Integumentogamy. Very good. Hmm? Integumentogamy. There's nothing such as integumentogamy. What is it called? Porogamy is done. Chalazogamy is done. What is left? Hmm?
Mm,
Remember something called as mesogamy?
oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Mesogamy.
Okay, feathery stigma are present in which type of pollinated plants?
Air
Why is it feathery?
to trap the pollen grains.
To trap the airborne pollen.
Oh,
If the pollen
yes.
grains are laying down on the ground, will the feathery stigma be able to catch it? No, it won't. Okay. How many ovules are present inside the ovary under normal case scenario?
Only one. Generally one.
Okay, can you tell me the name of that chemical dialogue that takes place between the pollen and the pistil? What is it called?
Pollen pistil interaction.
Yes, pollen pistil. Name, okay, give me one example of parthenocarpic fruit. First of all, tell me what is parthenocarpic.
Mm, fruits that are found like thalamus, it's outside, like
Hmm. Thalamus is outside, so what can I do with thalamus?
they develop without fertilization.
Give me the
Um,
example.
banana.
Banana. Okay. Then if you're talking about thalamus, so those fruits that are developed from the thalamus, what do we call them?
Thalamic.
Huh? Thalamic?
No.
Now you'll make words. What do you call those fruits that develop from the thalamus?
Mm, true. No, not true.
They are
False.
false fruit.
False fruit.
Name, give me some examples.
Ma'am, is it strawberry? False fruit.
Hmm. Hmm. What else? The best one you are not giving the one which you, if you eat that, you keep
Banana.
the doctors away.
Oh, apple.
Hmm. Apple. Okay. which fruit or which species has the free nuclear and cellular endosperm both?
Ma'am, can you repeat?
Which type of fruit or which type of you can say plant product has both the kinds of endosperm present in it, free nuclear and cellular? Which fruit has it?
Ma'am, both endosperm.
Hmm. Both.
Mm, berries. No.
Perisperm is different. Remember coconut,
Oh yes, ma'am.
which is the free
Ma'am,
nuclear part of coconut,
the the part that is consumed by us, the kernel.
part that we drink. Both the parts are what we consume.
Oh, oh
One
yes.
we drink, one we eat. The part we drink, the coconut water, that is free nuclear endosperm, and the one we eat is the cellular endosperm. How does the cellular endosperm develops?
Ma'am, cellular endosperm, it divides like it divides.
What divide? I divide.
No,
What divide?
ma'am, the primary and it forms through the primary endosperm nucleus.
See, the
No,
free nuclear endosperm that is there, when those free nuclear endosperm, they get a cell wall laid down, they become cellular endosperm. This is the whole entire concept only. Okay. Why the wind pollinated flowers do not have bright color and stuff?
wind pollinated.
Hmm.
Ma'am, because they do not like like it should be attractive for the insects. So like if wind is pollinating them, then they don't have to. It is not required.
Correct. And which type of insects or organisms are attracted from foul smell?
Mm. Beetles, moth.
Okay. Now this question. Okay, now in an angiosperm, okay, let's just say if if an angiosperm male plant is diploid. Okay, the male plant is diploid and the female plant is tetraploid. Okay, the male plant is diploid, the female plant is tetraploid. Then find out the ploidy of the ends. Question you've understood?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, it's not asking for the ploidy of zygote. It's asking for endosperm.
Yes. As you can see in the question, it's asking for endosperm.
Which, ma'am, endosperm is already 3N.
Okay, you want me to give you options? Okay.
Ma'am, trip, hmm, triploid.
Triploid. How?
Ma'am, from male plant, I took N, and female plant, I took 2N, like half tetraploid. No, I took 2N, so N plus 2N, 3N. Tetraploid, I mean triploid. Triploid.
See, the male plant is diploid. So the gamete it produces will be haploid.
Yes,
The
N,
female plant is tetraploid. So the gamete it produces will be diploid.
2N.
Hmm.
Yes.
This will be the gamete and this will be the this thing. Okay. Now, if the female plant is tetraploid, right? Tetraploid. So normally in the embryo sac, what is the ploidy of the synergids? N or 2N?
2N.
2. 2N. Right? What is the ploidy of the egg cell?
N.
N. Okay. What is the ploidy of the antipodals?
All 2N.
2N each. And what about the central cell?
2N.
2N.
No, ma'am, the polar nuclei is 2N.
Polar nuclei is 2. Right? Any doubts?
Yes. Hmm.
Now they are saying that the ploidy of the endosperm, right? And how is the endosperm formed?
By the fusion of polar nuclei in one of the male gametes.
One of the male gamete. Okay. So when we talk about this particular, like in normal case scenario here, over here, you would see that the N and the N, they will fuse, isn't it?
Yes.
Wait. The two polar nuclei, are they N or are they 2N each?
One is N. Each one is N.
Each one is N. Okay. So later on, while the fusion is happening, then it will become 2N, isn't it? Will it or will it not?
Ma'am, during fusion, yes, ma'am, it will become 2N and 3N.
But see, here we are saying that the female is tetraploid. Tetraploid means having 4N chromosomes, right? And later on, all the cells that had to be, you can say 2N. So here, this one, okay, the egg cell, it will be 2N because that is what is the ploidy of the gamete in this case. Whereas all the other cells will have 4N. Instead of being diploid, they will be tetraploid. So even this particular polar nuclei will also be 4N. Because out of all of the cells that are there in the embryo sac, it is only the gametophyte, the egg cell that is haploid, right? They have said
So,
that the
ma'am, overall, everything is changing into 4N except Excel.
overall everything will change now. Because why? Because here they have changed the whole entire situation. The male they have given normal, but the female they have given extra, like abnormal, right? They're saying tetraploid. Tetraploid means 4N. So once the 4N will form the gamete, it will become 2N. So this egg cell is 2N and the rest of the cells will be 4N. in this condition. Under normal condition, every cell is 2n and the egg cell is n. But now the egg cell will be 2n and the rest of the cells will be 4n. So now the
Yes.
primary endosperm nucleus will be 4n plus the n from the sperm, like the male gamete, and that will become 5n. So the answer would be penta. Okay, so you have to read the question very nicely and you have to apply it to all the cells. That is why ploidy is, in my opinion, one of the most important thing that seems easy, but it can be tricky. Clear? Any doubts?
No, ma'am.
You can write this down so that you can, revise it later on also. See this question also. This question says that when a diploid female plant is crossed with a tetraploid male, what will be the ploidy of the sperm? Now find this out.
Ma'am, is it 4n for each male gamete?
Mhm.
Ma'am, is it 4n for each male gamete?
No, they're not talking about male gamete. They're saying the male is tetraploid.
Yes, ma'am, but while the gametes are being, is it
Huh.
4n?
So if it is 4n, so from 4n, what will be the ploidy of the gametes? It will be 2n.
Yes, ma'am.
2n will be the
Yes.
ploidy of the gamete. Means 2n for both the male gametes. 2n one male gamete, 2n another.
Ma'am, tetraploid.
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 How?
Ma'am, because the polar nucleus here is 2n and
Hmm.
then 2n is the males.
Yes.
Yeah.
2n fusing with the 2n, giving us 4n, that is tetraploid. Very good. So you've understood this kind of question?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. While I was teaching you about the monocot seed, did I teach you about allurone layer?
No, ma'am.
See, allurone layer is the layer, you can say protein rich layer, and it is also triploid. Okay, it is 3n. meaning the layer that surrounds the endospermic area, that is the allurone layer. Now, there is one question related to it. The question goes,
Ma'am, can
huh?
you show me Aileron once again? Like,
Hmm.
can you draw it?
See, can I show you? I
Ma'am,
don't think it is
draw it.
written in. I'll show you. See, when we talk about allurone layer, see, mostly in the monocot plants, okay, you have seen the seed, right? And it has a scutellum like that. Now, allurone layer is the outer layer of the endosperm in those seeds. So, this endosperm will be surrounded by outer layer, which will be sort of proteinaceous layer that will be called as allurone layer. And remember that the allurone layer and the cells of the allurone layer will be 3N, just like endosperm.
Ma'am, Aileron layer is present inside or
It is
outside?
present inside the seed, but outside the endosperm. It's sort of outer covering. You can write it that allurone layer is the outer covering. Write it. Allurone layer is the outer layer slash covering of the endosperm in cereal plants or cereal grains. Cereal. Cereal grains like wheat, rice, and maize. Okay. And you also write that it is also triploid. It is rich in proteins and it is triploid. Now do this question. It says, what would be the number of chromosomes of allurone cells of a plant with 42 chromosomes in the root tip cells?
Ma'am, how do we relate it with the root tip?
Think. Root tip is your hint, the biggest hint. If we are talking about the normal plant body, is it haploid or is it diploid?
Diploid.
Diploid. So root tip is like a normal plant body's part. So it is
Yes.
also diploid. So root
Oh,
tip cells have 42 chromosomes. So with that, we can find out the number of haploid numbers of chromosome, right? So that would be 42 by n. Sorry, 42 by 2. That will give you the n number of chromosomes. What
yes,
will it
ma'am.
be? It will be 21. So
Yes,
21
21.
chromosomes are present in the gametes. Hmm?
Yes.
Then you do further. When you are not able to do the analysis. Now, so it is absolutely clear. Did you get it?
Ma'am, Aileron is 3N.
Hmm.
So 21 into 3.
Correct. 63. chromosomes will be there in the allele. Clear?
Yes. Yes.
So you find out, like, see, with the help of these cells, like root tip cells, synergids, antipodal, they will give you a hint whether what is the chromosome in the diploid cell. You'll do half of it, and that will give you the haploid. Now you multiply it for the endosperm. Clear?
Ma'am, but we consider the normal plant if they've given the only the part like root tip cell.
Uh-huh. They are saying that it's stated in the question that there are 42 chromosomes in the root tip cells. It means that the diploid number itself is 42. To find the haploid number, you do 42 by 2 and you get 21 is the haploid number. Now for triploid, now you know triploid is just the triple of it. So 21
Yes.
into 3 will give you 60.